Big opportunities for BYU and BYU men's basketball. Once again, tips off 8 o'clock on ESPN2. Looking forward to that matchup. And I can tell you that Spencer Johnson's looking forward to it as well. Had a great opportunity to sit down with him during BYU media availability yesterday. Without further ado, we'll wrap up today's show with a one-on-one with Spencer Johnson.
Big 12 play is here. We've been talking about this for 2 years now, getting ready for this, but how cool is it to feel like, hey, it's here and it's ready to roll?
Oh, it's awesome. I mean, you flip on the TV and it's usually a Big 12 team, primetime games.
Yeah.
Every conference game is like, really good team, really high-level athletes. They can shoot, they can score, they can rebound. So it's super exciting to be here. Excited to see where we're at compared to all these other teams and get after it.
We talk about like where you guys are at. You're 12-1. You're ranked 12th in the country. Like, how do you feel the non-conference slate went?
I feel like it went really well. I feel like we found who we were, our strengths, our weaknesses. Things that we need to work on. So excited to put those, things to the test against really good teams and just keep getting better.
You talk about watching those teams in prime time. How excited are you to play the likes of Baylor down there in Waco, going to Fog Allen, Kansas, et cetera?
Super excited. As a little kid growing up, you dream like, oh, I want to play against the best. And these teams, consistently year after year after year have been the best. They've been the top teams. So it's going to be super fun to get in there and just get to work on them.
Obviously, Cincinnati is your first game. What do you expect from the Bearcats? I know that Aziz Bendago from UVU is on that roster. We'll see if he's able to play. But what do you know about the Bearcats?
I know they're big. They rebound really well. They have a couple really good shooters. So it'll be a fun challenge for us. Fun challenge to try to, out-rebound them and control them on the glass, as well as, get out in transition and just do what we do.
Well, you guys are a pretty good rebounding team in your own right, especially on the offensive glass. Is that just an emphasis you guys have had all season long?
Yeah, it is. We have these certain goals that we try to hit every game, and one of those goals is like, hey, we want to get up, X amount of three-pointers, and we're going to shoot the ball. We're going to work really hard to get really good shots, and we're going to shoot it confidently. And even if we miss, we're going to go get the offensive rebound. Okay. And that's been a huge, you call it a secret sauce, but it's not really a secret, right? To just our success.
So is part of that is just the idea of getting extra possessions?
Yeah.
I cover a lot of NBA hoops in my job, and they talk all the time about getting extra possessions because that can be a killer.
Totally. Yeah, I mean, you look at several games we've had this season where it's like, oh, we're up, 10, 12 points, and then all of a sudden we go on a run and we're up 25.
Yeah.
It's because we get a couple offensive rebounds, we kick it out, we're out in transition, and it just crushes people.
What about this year's team? It seems like they're very unselfish. Was that something that you guys put together, I guess, on your trip overseas? Was it just a lesson you guys learned from last season? What caused that?
Yeah. I mean, a lot of time spent together in the off season. Like, we had a bunch of weeks leading up to our foreign trip over to Italy, which really helped us out. We were able to play over there some really good teams. Like, we played the best team in Croatia. Yeah. A bunch of like pros, grown men. And so it was really good to just like see where we were at, again, see, some things we needed to improve on. And like I said, one of our emphases was like, hey, we work hard to get good shots for each other. And that's been just huge for us. Like, we're happy for each other. Don't really care who scores 20. It's just like, hey, we won by 30 and we're happy.
When I ask about two of your teammates real quick, obviously Ali's been a sensation. They called him the Egyptian magician for a reason. We had Coach Pope on the radio station. He said that he ruined his assist-to-turnover ratio with an 8-to-1 ratio. But how good has he been in your mind?
Oh, it's just unbelievable. It's like, it's what I imagine playing with Jokic would feel like.
Okay, fair enough.
Just the way he sees the floor, like he's 7 foot, so he can see these angles that normal people can't really see, and just the way he delivers the ball in the right spot sets you up for such easy baskets, and he makes it look really easy. So I guess you watch film and you're like, oh yeah, whatever, like that was a good pass, but like you don't realize how hard some of these passes are, and just like the angles that he sees them at, and it's so fun to play with.
I also wanted to ask you about Jaxson Robinson. He's getting some NBA draft buzz. He's just a very smooth operator, is the way I kind of perceive him to be. But what have you made of him and the kind of leap he's taken this year?
Totally, yeah, well deserved. I mean, he worked super hard this offseason, consistently just putting up tons of shots. After practice, before practice, really working, on his offensive game, his defensive game has been a big focus for him, and he's just taken a big step. So super proud of him and well deserved.
Where have you taken the biggest step as a player?
A big step for me, I think something I've been really, really focused on and really working on was just my overall communication in terms of like leadership. Where coming in as a senior and one of the older guys on this team is just like, hey, Spence, this is your last year. This is like, this is your team. You've been here. You know how it works. We need you to have a voice. We need you to be a leader for these guys. And that's something I really tried to take a step in and take ownership of.
Last thing for me, not to look too far ahead, but what's next for you? Because this is your final run. Like, what is next?
For me personally?
Yeah, pro ball, like what do we
Yeah, we'll see.
Okay.
I mean, we'll see how this Big 12 conference goes, but hopefully we'll have some really good opportunity. And we were talking before this, but I served my mission in Italy.
Yeah.
So I spent a couple years over in Europe, and if I had the opportunity to go back there, it definitely would be pretty cool.
Well, Eric, Mika, and Jonathan Tavernari can help you out in that respect.
Definitely, yeah.
All right, well, Spencer, thanks for the time.
Thank you.
There you go, Spencer Johnson, BYU star, a senior guard. It's crazy to think that this is his final run in a BYU uniform, but he has been like that steady Eddie, player for BYU. When they need a big bucket, they seem to toss it to Spencer, and he's able to find his way to the hoop and get a big bucket. He's been shooting the three at a pretty high clip. I really appreciate what Spencer Johnson is doing for this BYU basketball program, and the hope is that, as he mentioned, that going forward, he'll get an opportunity to play professionally, whether it's overseas or elsewhere, that he gets that opportunity to go and continue to have his playing career become his career for a time, and we'll see how things ultimately shake out. But I have been appreciative of the way that Spencer has kind of conducted himself at BYU. He's become essentially a team spokesman at times when other players aren't necessarily as keen to talk to the media. Think back to last season when they had some of their struggles, one of their worst seasons in recent memory. It seemed like Spencer Johnson was speaking all the time during that, but I really appreciate the way that he conducts himself, and I look forward to seeing what BYU is capable of doing in this game against Cincinnati. I'm expecting a win for BYU. I'm expecting a pretty handy win. I think like 10 points would be the margin I would imagine for the Cougars, but we'll be out there. And the plan is with Big 12 play, I guess I can lift the lid on this as well. We plan to get back to doing our postcast editions of the podcast. These are Big 12 games. They're huge. They have implications, obviously, for BYU. Every single one of them. So the goal is to have a postcast edition of the podcast. It's a shortened version for those of you who are maybe unaware of how we operate with those listener feedback and the like on the games themselves. So win, lose, or I guess we don't have draws anymore in college basketball, but we'll have coverage for you guys. I want to encourage you guys to be a part of it starting tomorrow night after BYU takes on Cincinnati. It'll probably go up late Saturday night, early Sunday morning, but stay tuned for that and look for that over the weekend.